Welcome to Sacrilegious Discourse.
I'm husband.
And I'm wife.
Together, we're reading the Bible for the very first time.
We grew up without religion and wanted to know what all the fuss was about.
Well, what have we learned so far?
That God is a dick, and apparently some people believe in talking donkeys?
We're not trying to pass ourselves off as experts.
Nope, we're just reading the Bible for the first time and giving our first take reaction.
If you'd like to join us in this venture, you might consider starting at episode 1.
Otherwise, jump in wherever you like.
All right, let's go read the Bible.
Yeah, let's get to it.
Hey wife, did you know that Anchor is sponsoring our show?
Really? Don't we use Anchor to distribute our podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts?
Yeah, and we are on just about every other platform available as well, thanks to them.
Why do we use Anchor as our podcasting service?
Well, they make editing and distributing our show a breeze.
What if one of our listeners wants to start their own podcast?
Then they should head over to anchor.fm or download the app to get started.
Awesome! You guys should go do that right now! Husband!
Wife!
Do you remember what happened?
So you mean the last episode on Friday, right? Yeah. So I think David kicked some Amalekite ass.
Well, but before that, what's his name? Saul had sent him home.
Right.
And then they came back and their town was burned and their wives were taken and they were like, WTF, motherfucker.
Right. Yeah.
And then they asked God.
Well, no, not they. David
asked God, should I go after him? And God was like, abso-fucking-lutely.
Have you ever noticed though, whenever whenever Bible people go fight somebody else, they never talk about how many people died on their side.
Right.
Like, you know that they couldn't just possibly like kill them all and nobody died on their side.
Right.
That's not how that works.
Right.
And so why do they never talk about who died on their side?
Because that wouldn't make you excited.
I guess.
I'm
not really excited as it is. I'm like, this is dumb. You guys fight too much.
This is supposed to make you see how awesome God is.
But he's not.
No, I know.
And
I know.
Really the Bible shows me exactly the opposite of that.
Right.
So, and that didn't work out very well for them.
So God said yes, go after him. You're going to get everything back. And then David took his 600 guys.
Yeah.
But then 200 were like, I'm tired to cross the brook.
Right.
But then they turned it into, just kidding, they were staying behind to guard the equipment. They weren't too tired.
No, they were definitely too tired. That's what they said.
That's what they said.
So.
And then David and his 400.
And his men actually wanted to like ridicule them and not let them have stuff because they did stay behind because they were too tired. And then David was like, nah, man, they're good.
Right. But then they found this random Egyptian.
Yeah.
And the Egyptian was like, my master left me behind. And David was like, if we feed you and don't kill you, will you take us to him? And then that's how they found where they were, and they went there and they got all their shit back.
I still don't understand how thousands of people in the desert is hard to find.
Right?
Like, it just doesn't seem like it's that big of a task, you know?
It doesn't.
Like, follow the shit. Like you said the last time, they're going to discard some crap. Follow it.
Yes. I agree. But I am not a person that lives in these circumstances, so I don't know.
Right.
I'm just speaking out of my ass saying, surely it can't be that difficult.
Yeah.
So... Anyway, they found them with the help of the starving Egyptian.
Awesome.
Got all their shit back.
And then killed them all. And that's when, like you said, the guys were like, we're not sharing. And David was like, fuck you. Yes, we are. And then they shared their shit with... Their shit. They shared their shit with all of Israel.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, that was mine.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to give that to Joe, man.
Maybe like, they meant that not only did they get their own shit back, but also since they wiped out that tribe, they took all their stuff
That could be.
And so they shared the plunder, not the stuff just that they got back.
You're probably right.
I'm going to go with that because there's no way these guys were like, yeah, sure. I mean, that used to be mine, but I absolutely want to just
give it away.
Yeah.
Right.
Give it away now.
All right, so that was 1 Samuel chapter
30,
and today we are doing 1 Samuel chapter
31, the final chapter of the book of 1 Samuel.
Oh, right.
Which is just funny to me, because Samuel's been dead for ages now.
I know, it seems like it, right?
And there's a whole other book in his name.
He'll probably come back to life or some bullshit. He already did once.
He did. The Witch of Endor raised him.
Yeah, I know. It was amazing.
Yep.
All right, let's go get into this chapter, okay?
All right. Okay, 1 Samuel chapter 31.
Okay.
We have reached the end.
Thank the end.
I was waiting for, like, how are you going to end that sentence? The death of Saul and his sons, you know?
Oh, okay.
As foretold, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think at least at one of those stories that they told.
The Witch of Endor.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
When they raised Samuel,
That's
Samuel's
right.
like, you're going to die.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Now the Philistines attacked Israel, and the men of Israel fled before them. Many were slaughtered on the slopes of Mount Gilboa.
Yeah.
The Philistines closed in on Saul and his sons.
Oh, no.
And they killed 3 of his sons, Jonathan, Abinadab, and Malchishua.
Isn't that all of his sons?
I don't know.
Okay,
I don't remember
maybe
how
not.
many he had, but
Maybe
I am
not.
sad about Jonathan.
Yeah.
Jonathan was a good
And
guy.
he was friends with Samuel, or no.
David.
Yeah, that guy.
They were lovers.
Something like that, yeah.
I think they were lovers.
Okay.
The fighting grew very fierce around Saul. Fierce. And the Philistine archers caught up with him and wounded him severely.
Oh, no.
Saul groaned to his armor bearer. Take your sword and kill me before these pagan Philistines come to run me through and taunt me and torture me. Kill me.
Yeah.
What are you, a fucking Klingon? Your honor is so great?
No. I mean, I can imagine, like, back then, you're gonna die horribly if you don't just, like, get it over with, so...
That is true.
You know?
It's like in the Hunger Games when the dogs at the end were getting that one bad guy, Kato,
right.
And so she fired her arrow down to put him out of his misery.
Well, yeah.
It's a death. It's a mercy killing.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
But his armor bearer was afraid and would not do it. So Saul took his own sword and fell on it.
Oh, damn.
Motherfucker killed himself.
Yeah.
If you knew torture was coming, would you kill yourself?
Ooh, that's tough. That's tough.
That is tough because you always assume, you as a person I know, always
I'm very
assume
arrogant. So
you're like, I can get out of this.
right? Yeah, I don't think I would.
Even in the middle of torture, you would be like, I'm still not going to kill myself because I know I can get out of this.
Right.
You're stupid. When his armor bearer realized that Saul was dead, he fell on his own sword and died beside the king.
Oh, damn.
Wow. Yikes.
No. I mean, I think I'd just run away personally.
I would have run
That's just
away.
my theory. That's my take on it.
If I was Saul or the armor
Right,
bearer,
I'm
I'd be like, let's
fuck.
out.
Well, Saul was injured, so he might have been too wounded to run away. But his armor bearer didn't say he was wounded. So,
Right.
like, if I'm his armor bearer, I'm like, dropping the armor, running that way.
If you were Saul, wouldn't you have even told him, save yourself?
Yeah, I mean, right?
Fly, you fool.
Yeah.
So Saul, his 3 sons, his armor bearer, and his troops all died together that same day.
Oh, man.
Womp womp. When the Israelites on the other side of the Jezreel Valley beyond the Jordan saw that the Israelite army had fled and that Saul and his sons were dead, they abandoned their towns and fled.
Oh, man. Yeah,
Dead
they're
and
like...
fled and dead.
Yeah. Saw and Saul.
Yeah. They saw Saul dead in bed and
Right.
fled.
Yeah.
So the Philistines moved in and occupied their towns. Oh, they gonna get it from David, though.
You think?
David's not gonna have it.
We're at the end of the book.
I know.
This is what the next book's all about, huh?
I don't know.
Even though Samuel's dead, it's still going to be Samuel chapter, because I got to be like, we're still continuing the story, so it's still Samuel.
I wonder. That's one of my questions. Why is a book about a guy who is dead?
Why do they got to make it 2 Samuel? Why don't they just keep it 1 Samuel?
Why don't they call it David?
Why don't they just call it Samuel? Or call it, why don't they just change it to David?
Right?
Isn't that a whole other fucking book?
Right. Yeah, I don't get it. The next day, when the I almost said Philippines. I apologize. That is not correct. When the Philistines went out to strip the dead, they found the bodies of Saul and his 3 sons on Mount Gilboa. So they cut off Saul's head
Oh, damn.
and stripped off his armor. But who cares? He's dead.
Do you think these guys, like, I mean, how do they know who's who? Like, do they have meetings like, hey, we're going to kill you later, man?
They photocopied pictures and put posters up. Duh.
Okay.
Then they proclaimed the good news of Saul's death in their pagan temple and to the people throughout the land of Philistia. What?
Oh, I was gonna say, don't you think you could just cut off any random dude's head and be like, we killed Saul?
We killed Saul. Saul is dead.
I mean, nobody would question you,
true.
right? They'd
It's
be like,
true.
okay, great. That's
I
awesome.
mean, I don't know, because the Witch of Endor knew what Samuel looked like, and
Whatever.
once she realized who Saul was, she recognized him.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't know. They placed his armor in the temple of the Ashtaroth. What? Ashtoreths.
Okay.
I was trying to say Ashtaroth,
Ah,
but that's not right. It's
right.
Ashtoreth.
Okay.
And they fastened his body to the wall of the city of Bethshan.
Damn.
They are ugly.
Right?
But when the people of Jabesh Gilead heard what the Philistines had done to Saul, all their mighty warriors traveled through the night to Bethshan, took the bodies of Saul and his sons down from the wall.
Just walked right in and just did that.
They saw Saul was on the wall, and they took Saul down from the wall.
And then they hauled him back.
Nice. They brought them to Jabesh, where they burned the bodies. Then they took their bones and buried them beneath the tamarisk tree at Jabesh, and they fasted for 7 days. The end.
Oh, okay. Fasted. Okay. What did
they mourned? It was their mourning.
Yeah, all right.
You know.
Okay.
They were sad, so
sure.
they did the grieving of their king.
I still want to know how you just walk into the fucking town and just take the fucking body in the head or whatever.
I mean, if you were that good, why couldn't you have defended your shit better?
Right? That's crazy.
I have no idea.
Whatever.
I guess we'll find out.
We'll find out in 2 Samuel, huh?
2 Samuel.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a rather anticlimactic end to that book, since
it really
we're kind
was.
of still in the middle of the story.
I don't understand why, A, either they're breaking up to a second book, or B, why they keep it the same basic name. Like, this makes no sense. So
I don't get it.
I guess we'll have it all clarified in the next one.
Question mark?
Yeah, kind of doubt it, but hey, whatever. Wishful thinking, right?
Right. So that was 1 Samuel chapter 31.
Yep, it was a really short chapter.
It really was.
But tomorrow, I think we're going to be doing our wrap-up of 1 Samuel, and obviously we'll, if there's anything we need to cover from this one, there wasn't much there, so.
Right.
But we're going to cover the wrap-up of the book.
Yes.
And then I think we're going to be doing some other shit throughout the week, because we like to start our books on the beginning of weeks.
Yeah.
So we got some special episodes and crap that we're going to be doing.
Yeah, I think we're going to do a book club that we talked about.
Oh, yeah, the one.
I was supposed to have that ready for this past weekend, but that just didn't, it wasn't in the cards, man.
Right.
So, but we've got that episode ready for this week.
Yeah, definitely. All right, cool. Well, let's get on out of here, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Okie dokie.
All right.
Bye. Husband.
Wife.
It's the end of 1 Samuel.
It sure is.
And we're going to do what's it called?
I think it's called a wrap-up.
Oh, yeah. Or a summary or whatever.
Whatever the fuck it is. End of the book.
And a pop quiz.
Are
you ready for this?
I'm as ready as I'm going to be.
Okay.
All right, let's go do this.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to tell you some things about 1 Samuel.
Okay.
The book of.
Yes. Got it.
It is the story of Israel's transition from a theocracy to a monarchy.
Ah. That's why they're so preoccupied with kings and shit.
Right, because remember, they used to have judges, right?
Right.
And then the people were like, we want a king. We want a king.
Right.
And so it's their transition from one to the other.
Yeah.
And that's why it's real choppy and weird and not good.
Got it.
Okay?
Yeah.
Samuel, the book, the guy.
Yeah. The legend.
Yeah. He represents the old rule of the judges.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Saul represents Israel's failed attempt at monarchy.
Ah, yeah.
Because he's a bad one.
Yeah. Okay.
And then David, who's supposed to be awesome and we're supposed to love him even though we think he's kind of a dick.
Right.
He represents God's ideal king.
I see.
Even though we should keep in mind that God and Samuel were both like, well, we'll let you have a king, but we're not fucking happy about it.
Yeah.
Remember, God told Samuel, they're not rejecting you, they're rejecting me.
Right. So he shouldn't be happy that there's any kings.
Right.
At all.
Exactly.
So, but whatever.
Let people go into people.
God's gonna, be fickle. So.
Right? Yeah. So that is a large general overview. But now I wanted to kind of do a remember what all happened.
Sure, yeah.
Because I kind of forgot until I did this summary.
Okay, all right.
So remember the book starts out and we had just come out of, the book of Ruth, but pretending that doesn't exist.
Sure.
We had just come out of a time of judges.
Right.
And the priesthood in Israel was in a state of decline.
Okay.
Remember? Because there was
like bad and good and
but mostly
whatever,
bad judges.
Mostly bad, right.
And Israel's chief priest at the time was Eli.
Okay.
And then Eli's sons were disobeying God's laws.
Yeah, okay.
Right? Do you remember all this, kind of?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, until I do a summary, it's hard to remember what fell in which book.
Right.
So...
And there's lots of names in this book. I mean,
there
or like in the Bible in general. So, like,
yeah.
names with the Bible are like...
So bad.
Who's that again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So this really helped me, I think.
Right.
Remember what all happened and who was a key player.
Right.
So remember, Eli's like, my sons are awesome. And the people and God are like, not so much, my guy.
Right, yeah.
And so God declared that he's going to choose a new priest from Israel from outside Eli's family.
Yeah, and it was the chick that begged to have the kid, and then she dropped him on the
Hannah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So God began delivering messages to Samuel, Israel's next judge.
Right.
Okay. Now, Samuel was born to Hannah, as we just said, who was a previously barren woman. And because she begged God, please let me have a baby, when she finally did, it was Samuel, and she gave him to the church, to Eli.
Right.
To be raised as a Nazarite.
Yeah.
And then she was able to have children after that.
Right.
Because she, did her promise.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then Samuel came to be recognized as a prophet throughout Israel.
Okay.
And the Philistine guys, they killed Eli's sons and they captured the Ark of the Covenant. Do you remember
that's
that?
right. Yeah, and then the plague with the boils and the rats and whatever.
Yeah. So when they captured it, though, Eli fell over dead.
Right. I remember that. That was kind of funny.
That was kind of funny.
The way they just like...
He just fell over dead.
He just
the
fell
end.
over dead.
Yeah. And, so there was all that boils and rats and whatever.
Right.
And so then the ark got returned. Oh, and remember, he knocked over, the ark supposedly knocked over their precious idol.
Right. And also they sent it back on a wandering cow.
Yeah. So they sent it back to Philistine, and after it...
they sent it back
They sent it back to Israel. The Philistines became very sick and all that, and so then they sent it back on a wandering cow.
Right.
And so then the Israelites demanded that Samuel appoint a king.
Right. I remember that.
Okay.
Yeah.
They were like, give us a king. Give us a king. And so then God told Samuel who should be the king, and the following day, a man named Saul appeared, and he was inquiring about some lost donkeys.
I remember we thought he was all right at first. Mm-hmm. I thought he was,
he's
seemed
just a
okay.
farmer guy.
Yeah.
Kind of like David, just a farmer guy.
Right? Yep.
And then King Saul, even though, so he became king, right?
Right.
And then, even though he was doing a lot of good things in battle, soon he started disobeying God. Like, remember, he was told, when you do these battle things, defeat all of the people and burn everything.
Right.
But
he was
kept
saving some of the plunder and not following that exactly. So.
Right. That whole thing is supposed to represent the fact that he was choosing his earthly desires to do his religious things, like what he was used to as a normal man, above his godly kingly duties.
Right. What it brought to my attention was more along the lines of, why the fuck aren't they dying? They're not obeying God.
Yeah.
That would have happened in earlier chapters, in earlier books. So it's so weird.
Yep.
I'll probably be saying that to the end of the Old Testament, because I'm like, there's multiple different types of gods.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So God led Samuel to the town of Bethlehem to choose a new king, since Saul wasn't doing good. And then Samuel anointed Jesse's youngest son David a shepherd as king.
Right. Only
that glosses over the fact that there was the two different timelines as to what was happening.
Yeah. That got the First Samuel book off on a really bad track. Mm-hmm. Because what? Yeah. What is going on?
Because it was two different stories combined into one.
At least two different stories.
Right. So God withdrew his power from Saul, and he cursed Saul with psychological distress in the form of an evil spirit.
Right, didn't he go loony?
He went loony.
He kind of was ranting and raving.
And then David soothed him with his harp. but not really. But yes, he did. But that had already happened. But what?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because everything was out of order.
Right.
So the Philistines again threatened to attack Israel. But this time they brought their fun Goliath with them.
Right. And this is where we get into a famous story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
David killed the Goliath, which is just a 9-foot tall guy.
Right.
So super tall. He killed him with a single stone shot from his sling.
Not necessarily killed him, knocked him the fuck out.
Yes.
And then took his head off with a goddamn sword.
And then took his head off with the sword. With the Goliath's own sword.
Was it with Goliath's own sword?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Because the whole cool thing about David is that, not cool to me, but like what they consider cool, is that he had said, no, I don't need any weapons. I don't need any armor.
Right.
And I just have my faith in God. So he went in. That's why him and his slingshot took him down. And then he used Goliath's own sword.
Got it.
To chop off his head.
Okay. All right.
So.
Yep.
That immediately made the people very happy and sing his praises.
Right.
And so Saul became insanely jealous of David.
Right. And yes.
And that's the rest of the book, basically, is Saul.
Spear throwing and, and chasing.
Mm-hmm. Saul's son Jonathan became David's quote-unquote intimate friend.
Right.
Which I think they were lovers, but whatever.
Whatever.
Saul attempted to kill David with a spear.
Multiple times.
Right. And
his son.
He called his son a stupid son of a whore.
Right.
Which was my favorite part.
Yeah.
And then Saul sent David on a suicide mission to kill 100 Philistines.
Yeah.
And David brought back 200 foreskins. So Saul begrudgingly rewarded David with his daughter Michael's hand in marriage.
Right.
And then Michael and Jonathan helped David flee from Saul.
Right.
And then David built an army. And he was joined by a priest.
Yep.
And then Saul pursued David into the desert. And David spared the king's life twice.
Yeah.
Do you remember those 2 times?
Well, the first time he was taking a piss in a cave.
And he chopped off the hem of his robe.
Right. And then the second time, they were sleeping in a camp, and it was night, and they snuck up on him with somebody else that he was with. Mm-hmm. And they snuck right past all the sleeping people in a circle. Mm-hmm. I don't know why they have no guards guarding their fucking king.
It did mention briefly that God put the whole camp to sleep.
Okay, whatever.
So that Saul and his guy could sneak into David's camp.
Okay.
Or, no, backwards. Sorry. David and his guy could sneak into Saul's camp.
Right. And then they snuck in and, stole his water and...
his spear.
And that.
The water bottle that was by his head, as well as his spear.
Right.
And both times, David was like, I could have killed you, but I didn't.
I find it interesting the things that God gets involved with and the things that he doesn't get involved with.
Right.
Like, he helps them put people to sleep so they can steal a water bottle and a spear.
Right.
But, I mean, what?
Yeah.
It's so stupid.
It's so stupid. It makes no goddamn sense.
Right.
So both times, David was like, could have killed you, but I didn't.
Yeah.
And both times, Saul expressed remorse and begged for David's mercy.
Yeah, but obviously didn't mean it very well because, he's like, now I'm going to try to kill you again. Every fucking time.
So it's pointed out that David, after the second time, was told by God that you're going to be fine.
Right.
But he did not. This is like the beginning of David's
demise.
Yeah. He did not trust God's word. He trusted experience and history and was like, I don't think that Saul is going to stop trying to kill me.
Right.
So he took refuge with the Philistines.
Sure.
And the first time that he did that, remember, he acted cuckoo because the guy, Achish,
right,
he knew was going to recognize him.
Yep.
Or did recognize him.
Right.
So Achish let him go. But then he came back again, and it was either the Achish or his son or somebody didn't recognize him and was like, thought he was all that in a bag of chips.
Right.
And let David stick around.
But they did know he was an Israelite, though, right?
They knew he was an Israelite, but they thought that he was betraying the Israelites. So
right.
Achish was like, that is so fucking awesome. He's going to do great for us because, he is actually from an Israelite, so God is going to be on our side.
Right.
And the men are going to be behind us because we've got an Israelite with us.
Not only an Israelite, but David.
Yeah. So that was cool.
Right.
And David kept killing Philistines, but telling them, "JK, I'm really killing Israelites."
Right.
And Achish believed him, but Achish's guys did not.
Right.
So Saul was like, "This cannot stand with these Philistines and David over there and all that." So he consulted the Witch of Endor.
Which is the best name ever.
I know. That needs to be a story. It needs to be a movie.
Definitely.
Like, I need to see this happen.
Right.
And he bade the spirit medium to conjure up Samuel's ghost.
Yep.
And Samuel's ghost was like, "You gonna die. And
right.
your kids are gonna
Which
die."
ended up being correct.
And that is exactly what happened. And
apparently
they died fighting the Philistines.
Since it was correct, I guess that makes the Witch of Endor a prophet.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because if it's correct, then you are in God's favor.
Except that she did not say those words. Samuel did. She merely conjured him up.
Fair enough.
And that's how the Bible was mean to her and did not include her as a prophet. But they really should have.
Got it. Yeah.
So, at the end of that, the Philistines are winning, and Saul is like, "Oh shit," and he's like, "Kill me so that they don't get me," and his arms bearer was like, "Not so much, I'm not going to kill you."
Right.
So then Saul fell on his own sword, and then his arms bearer fell on his own sword, and all his kids had died, and that's the end of 1 Samuel.
Okay. All right, yeah.
So now that we are caught up on all that, are you ready for a 20-question pop quiz?
I am ready. Let's give this a shot. See how shitty I can do this time.
Who taunted Hannah about her inability to have children? Multiple choice.
Taunted Hannah.
This is Saul's mom.
Okay. All right.
Leah, Peninnah, Naomi, or Rachel?
Gonna go with Naomi?
I honestly don't remember.
I don't either. Is that really from this book?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's at the very beginning. She couldn't have children. That's why.
Oh, yeah.
And then she gave Saul, when she finally got pregnant, she gave Saul to Eli.
Sorry, it seems like forever ago.
I know. And it's only 31 chapters.
Right.
Okay, this is one where we don't get the answers till after we submit them.
Hey, that's fine.
Okay, just letting you know.
Okay.
What was Eli's job? Multiple choice. Priest, counselor, baker, blacksmith.
Eli. Wow.
She literally gave her son to...
Oh, he was a priest. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm okay, really.
You're not awake.
No, I'm tired.
I know.
Tired.
You're not all here.
No.
Wake the fuck up.
Yeah.
Okay, number 3. Multiple choice.
Okay.
How did Eli die? He was shot by an arrow. He was poisoned. He died in his sleep. He fell off his chair.
Fell off his chair.
He sure as fuck did.
One of my favorite parts of the
I
book.
know. Number 4. Multiple choice.
Yep.
In the house of which god did the Philistines place the Ark of the Covenant? Dagon, Ashtaroth, Molech, or Beelzebub?
I think it was the first. What was the first one?
Dagon.
I think it was Dagon.
I'm pretty sure it was Dagon. Number 5. Multiple choice.
Yep.
In which city was the Ark of the Covenant given back to the Levites?
Okay.
Kiriath Jearim, Beth Shemesh, Timnath, or Mizpah?
What was the second one again?
Beth Shemesh.
What was the first one?
Okay. Kiriath Jearim, Beth Shemesh.
I'm gonna go with Beth Shemesh.
Okay.
At least that's my...
I want to say Timnath, but I don't remember any of them.
All right.
I could be wrong. Number 6. How was the Ark returned? Multiple choice.
I know this one.
Okay, what was it?
Cow.
Yeah. It was sent down the river in a boat. No. The Philistines carried it by hand.
Nope.
No. It was carried on a cart pulled by cows.
Yep.
That one. Or it was strapped to a chariot and pushed down a hill. Nope. It could have been, though.
Right.
Number 7. What did the people demand from Samuel? Lower taxes, a king, more psalms to be written, or a better army?
A king.
A king. Number 8. Which tribe was Saul from? Judah, Benjamin, Dan, or Simon?
Pretty sure it was Benjamin.
I think you're right. But it might have been Judah.
No, it's Benjamin.
Okay. Number 9. Which animals did Saul's father tell him to search for? You know this one.
Probably. Go, but read them off.
You don't know it?
Not like hardcore know it, no.
So you don't know it?
And not that I can... Just read them off. Just read them off.
Donkeys, pigs, sheep, or horses?
Donkeys, pigs, sheep...
You don't know it? I read it in the summary.
Is it sheep?
No, it's donkeys.
Donkeys. Okay.
I'm almost positive it's donkeys.
Okay, we'll go with donkeys then.
Yeah, stupid.
Sorry.
Number 10. Who besieged Jabesh Gilead during the reign of Saul? The Ammonites, the Hittites, the Moabites, or the Edomites? And you know what? I have no fucking idea because they are all the same to me.
No, yeah, right. Well, say those again. What were the choices?
Ammonites, Hittites, Moabites, Edomites.
I'm going to go with the Ammonites.
Sounds good. Number 11. What did Jonathan eat despite Saul telling his troops that they were not to eat it until they were victorious?
Wasn't it honey?
Uh-huh. Honeycomb. The choices are milk, lamb, honeycomb, and bread.
Okay, yeah,
honeycomb. Yep. Number 12. Who killed Agag? Samuel, David, Saul, or Jonathan?
Agag.
I don't even remember who Agag is.
I mean, I remember the name, but I can't remember what he did. So what were the choices again, though?
Samuel, David, Saul, or Jonathan?
I'm going to go with Saul.
Okay.
Because if I don't remember it, it must have been earlier, right? So that's my thinking here.
Sure.
Okay.
I would have gone with Jonathan just because he's the
why?
odd one
He was
out.
like, yeah, no.
I don't know. Number 13. What job did David first do for Saul?
Harp?
Yeah. Here's your choices.
Yeah.
Gardener, chef, shepherd, musician.
Yeah, musician.
Yep. Number 14. How many shekels of brass did Goliath's coat of armor weigh? 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000.
Let's go with 5,000. Sounds great.
I don't fucking care.
I don't know. Yeah.
Number 15. Complete this quote. Multiple choice.
Okay.
Saul has killed his thousands, but David his...
Tens thousands.
Yep. Your choices were tens of thousands, millions, hundreds of thousands, hundreds.
Got it.
But no, I'm pretty sure it was tens of thousands.
I know it's tens of thousands.
Number 16. What did Michael place in David's bed to trick Saul's messengers into believing that David was ill?
An idol.
No.
No?
To trick the guys into thinking that he was ill.
Okay, what are the choices?
Oh, you were right, probably.
I know.
A pig, an idol, feathers, or sacks of potatoes.
Yeah, idol.
An idol, yeah. You're right.
Where was your brain at?
I don't know. I'm tired too. Shut up.
Okay, all right.
Number 17. What did David do when he visited King Achish in Gath?
Go ahead and read the choices.
Oh, I thought you would know this. He pretended to be insane. He gave the king a gift. He offered him his friendship, or he killed the king.
He pretended to be insane.
Boy. Number 18. Where did David cut off the corner of Saul's cloak?
In a cave.
In a cave, in a forest, by a river, or under a tamarisk tree.
But cave.
In a cave, yeah. Number 19. Which of the following did Saul not turn to for advice towards the end of his life?
God. I don't know. What are the choices?
Dreams, prophet of Baal, a witch or medium, and a Urim.
A Urim? What the fuck's a Urim?
The Urim and the Thummim.
Oh, that's right. Say those again then?
Which of the following did Saul not turn to for advice towards the end of his life?
Okay, and what are the choices?
Dreams, which, yeah, he did. Remember, he was like, I've done my dreams, and I've done my lots, and I've done prophets of, I don't know, it's dreams, prophets of Baal, a witch or medium, and Urim.
Prophets of Baal?
I think that would be it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he did all the other things.
Right.
Okay, number 20. Where was Saul's final battle? Mount Moriah, Mount Hermon, Mount Olives, Mount Gilboa.
I'm going to go with the last one, Mount Gilboa.
That's the one I would have.
But I honestly don't know exactly.
I don't know either.
So.
Okay.
How do we do?
Hold on, I got to put in a name before I'm allowed to submit this.
Oh, man. Always with the names.
I know, right?
What the fuck?
Okay. Oh, we got number 1 wrong.
Damn it.
Who taunted Hannah about her inability to have children?
It was not Naomi.
It was not Naomi.
Naomi was in the book of Ruth.
Yeah.
Yeah. I suck.
I let you have it, though.
Yeah, I know.
It was Peninnah.
Peninnah. Okay.
Okay, number 2, what was Eli's job? We got that right. It was priest.
Okay.
Number 3, how did Eli die? We got that one right. He fell off his chair.
That's easy.
I know. Number 4, in the house of which god did the Philistines place the Ark of the Covenant? We got that one right. It was Dagon.
Nice.
Number 5, in which city was the Ark of the Covenant given back to the Levites? We got it right. It was Beth Shemesh.
Awesome.
Good on you.
All right.
Number 6, how was the Ark returned? Of course, we got that one right.
Right.
It was carried on a cart
So
pulled by
easy.
cows. It's funny, they're either like totally easy or ridiculously hard.
Right.
Number 7, we got this one right. What did the people demand from Samuel? A king.
That one was easy too.
Yep. Number 8, we got this one right. Which tribe was Saul from? Benjamin.
That's all me.
That was all you. Number 9, we got this one right. Which animals did Saul's father tell him to search for? Donkeys.
That was all you.
Yeah. I can't believe you didn't remember that one.
Yeah, well.
That one was easy in my mind.
Yeah.
Number 10, we got it right. Who besieged Jabesh Gilead during the reign of Saul? We guessed the Ammonites, and we got it right.
Well, I mean, it was I thought I remember them fighting them at one point, so that's why.
They have fought all of these guys at one point.
Right.
I could have gone with any of them, and still wouldn't care.
Right.
Number 11, we got right. What did Jonathan eat, despite Saul telling his troops that they were not to eat it until they were victorious? Honeycomb.
That one was easy, too.
But you know what? The way they phrase that question, what did Jonathan eat, despite them being told not to?
Right.
That's
they
not
leave a
fair.
little bit out there, because,
he wasn't told not to.
Yeah.
I hate the way that question is phrased. He didn't disobey anybody.
It was also a ridiculous rule in the first place.
Yeah. Don't eat no honey. Like, why?
Right.
That's stupid. Like, it would make sense today because if we were told, hey, nobody eat honey because we're trying to help the pollinators survive, like, there's something to be said about why.
Right.
Today. Back then, it was just so fucking, don't step on a crack or you'll break your mother's back for no reason.
Right.
And suddenly it's true. What?
Yep.
Okay, we got number 12 wrong.
Oh, no.
Who killed Agag? It wasn't Samuel.
I didn't say Samuel.
I'm sorry. It wasn't Saul. It was Samuel.
Oh.
Sorry.
Okay.
I get them mixed up. We guessed Saul, but it was actually Samuel.
Okay.
Number 13, we got right. What job did David first do for Saul?
That
Musician.
was easy. Yeah.
Number 14, how many shekels of brass did Goliath's coat of armor weigh? You got it right. It was 5,000.
I just picked the highest one because I'm like giant.
Yeah,
okay,
why
whatever.
not? Number 15, we got right. Complete the quote. Saul has killed his thousands, but David his...
I mean, tens of thousands. It's a famous quote.
It's a famous quote. We all know it.
Come on now.
I mean, is even Saul a prophet now?
Right?
Number 16, we got it right. What did Michael place in David's bed to trick Saul's messengers into believing David was ill? What was it?
An idol.
An idol. I apologize.
That's right.
Yeah, I bow to your superiority on that one. Number 17. What did David do when he visited King Achish in Gath? He pretended to be Looney Tunes.
Did we get it right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Number 18. We got this one right. Where did David cut off the corner of Saul's cloak?
That was easy.
In a cave.
Right.
Number 19. We got it right. Which of the following did Saul not turn to for advice towards the end of his life? It was the prophets of Baal.
Okay.
And number 20 we got right. Where was Saul's final battle? Mount Gilboa.
All right.
We scored 18 out of 20 for a 90 fucking %.
Hell yeah, we did good.
We kicked that Bible's ass.
That's the best quiz we've done so far, I think.
I know, right?
Like, we usually miss a bunch.
We do.
We're like,
we suck at
thank
this.
God we passed.
Yeah.
Because, we didn't know shit.
Yep.
But this time we knew it.
We got an A.
Yeah.
Nice.
Must be paying better attention these days.
Well, the story was a little less confusing and more followable.
I guess, sort of.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah, whatever. All right, so...
it was more of a story rather than random facts.
Right. That is true. But still a bad story.
Well,
and
yeah.
Multiple same stories.
Yes.
Ish.
So...
yeah, whatever. Anyway, so that's 1 Samuel.
That's 1 Samuel. We kicked that book's ass and we're done with it.
We sure did. And tomorrow, do we know what we're doing?
Tomorrow we are starting our book club.
Okay. Well, tomorrow you should all join us for our first episode of our book club. We're going to start back with, tomorrow's just the introduction.
Yeah.
So,
I'm going to talk to you about Asimov's Guide to the Bible And I picked up, well, I should say you picked up, husband, a hard copy of the book. It's 2 volumes in one because it was originally published as 2 volumes, the Old Testament and the New Testament.
Right.
And we're going to talk about the book, and we're going to talk about Asimov, and then we're going to read the introduction to the book. So if you want to follow along, go ahead and pick up your copy somewhere. And yeah, that's what we're going to do.
Okay, sounds like fun.
Whee!
We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Bye. Husband.
Wife.
I have a theme song for you.
You have a theme song for me?
Ready?
Okay.
Ba 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 ba. It's the Sacrilegious Book Club.
Yeah, no. Nope, we're not doing that one again.
No?
Not a chance.
I really liked it.
I'm glad you liked it. That's cute. Yeah.
So that's what we're doing today.
The book club thing?
The Sacrilegious Book Club.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about Isaac Asimov and the book he wrote about the Bible.
Okay. So we're going to go ahead and do that now then?
Yeah.
All right, let's go do this.
Okay. Okay, so this is our first episode, our inaugural episode of our Sacrilegious Book Club.
Okay.
And we are covering Asimov's Guide to the Bible, 2 volumes in one, the Old and New Testaments by Isaac Asimov.
Wow, and based on the size of it, it's going to take us for fucking ever.
Yeah, indeed.
My God.
Yeah, it's huge. Like, when the word epic was created, they had a picture of this fucking book next to the word.
Right, yeah. But it is exciting because early on we didn't do a lot of, Q&As. We didn't do any Q&As on our earlier stuff. So we're going to get to go back and kind of cover some of that stuff, I guess, through Asimov.
Yeah.
Which will be kind of cool.
It will be kind of cool. So I thought the way that we would set these book clubs up is for the intro episode.
Uh-huh.
I would talk a little bit about the author and then a little bit about the book itself.
Okay.
And then read the dust jacket cover so that you have a nice summary, let you know what its rating is on Goodreads. So you got all that. And then we're going to actually go into the book just a little bit. We're going to talk about the introduction to the book.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
So I'm trying to create this format that we're going to follow henceforth.
Got it.
Okay?
Got it. Yep.
So Isaac Asimov.
Ready? Isaac Asimov. I love Isaac Asimov, by the way.
I do too. Why do you love him?
Because he's sci-fi.
We're
sci-fi nuts.
Yeah.
So, and I love the Foundation series. So.
And that's what he's most famous for.
Yeah.
So, did you know that he was born in Russia?
I did not know that.
He was born in Russia somewhere around January 2nd, 1920. And I say somewhere around because there's not a specific date for his birthday.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But he moved to the U.S. when he was just 3.
Okay.
And then he became a naturalized citizen at the age of 8.
Got it.
And then his mom fudged his date, his birthday, so he could start school a year early.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think that was a lot more common back then,
You
we
could
didn't have all
fudge
these
things.
electronic records and stuff. Yeah.
So he graduated from high school when he was 15.
Damn.
Right?
Wow.
But when he found out that his birthday was a year off, he corrected it, which later came to kick him in the ass because when he was 26, I think, or 25, I can't remember, he was still eligible for the draft.
Oh.
And if he hadn't corrected it, he would not have been eligible. He would have been 1 year too old.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So
interesting.
Yeah, that sucked for him.
Right.
But he served briefly and was honorably discharged.
Okay. All right.
So
yep.
I thought that was interesting
to
know about him.
Yeah.
He is known as one of the big 3 sci-fi writers. Do you know who the other 2 are?
Well, obviously one is Heinlein.
Robert A. Heinlein, that's
and,
correct. Who I grew up reading. I did not grow up reading Asimov so much, but I did grow up reading Heinlein.
Right, and I can't remember his name, but the guy that wrote 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
False.
I'm guessing this. No, really?
No.
What's his name, though?
Jules Verne?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no.
All right.
Arthur C. Clarke.
Oh, yeah, duh.
I
knew that.
I know you knew that. And, okay, so listen to this. He had this thing that he called the Asimovian Law of Composition.
Okay.
And that calls for writing from 9 to 5, 7 days a week.
Damn.
Period. The fucking end.
That's craziness.
Yeah. And so he either wrote or edited over 500 books.
Damn.
Right? Because of that.
He's like, not only is this a job, but I don't ever take a day off.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy.
And actually, he was a professor, and he kind of got fired-ish because he stopped doing research because he was writing all the time. So, like, he got tenure, but then he just stopped doing research. And, like, when you are at that level of academia, you are expected to keep researching and producing new results.
Sure.
And he was like, I can't, I'm writing, I'm busy.
Right.
And so then later on, he was granted an honorary status, and he had to do like so many speeches per year and show up at one like, I don't know, class or seminar or something like that. So he like basically worked out a deal with them to where he would have to put in the very minimal effort.
Sounds like a good deal.
Right. I mean, they would have been a fool to let him go completely once they realized that they had a gem on their hands.
Yeah.
So he, as you pointed out, is best known for his Foundation series.
Yep.
And if you have not seen that, I read that. Sorry.
Yeah, don't see it first.
If you have not read it, you need to stop everything you're doing and run immediately to the library or your nearest bookstore and pick up a copy of the original trilogy.
Right.
Okay, I can't speak for the prequels and sequels and all the things that came after, but the original 3 books are fucking excellent. So excellent that they won, the original trilogy won the Hugo for Best All-Time Series.
Yeah.
In 1966.
I don't doubt it because, I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah, they created that category, Best Overall Series,
just
specifically for him.
Now, I will say this. It's a really huge world that he builds.
Yeah.
Or universe. And so if you're not one that like if you just like a easy story, this may not be for you.
True.
Because he is wow. It's rich what he builds.
It's interesting that he and I haven't read as much Arthur C. Clarke, but it's interesting that he and Heinlein are 2 of the big 3.
Right.
Because Heinlein, whom I did grow up reading, as I said, he was much more character driven and dialogue driven, whereas Asimov is much more story and world driven.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And neither one is better than the other. They are both excellent, but they are completely different reads.
Yeah.
Heinlein is the one that you want to read just for quick, snappy dialogue and, you know, relaxing read.
Yep. Read Stranger in a Strange Land or something like that if you want some Heinlein.
Mm-hmm. But then you definitely got to read Foundation.
Definitely. Because
it's just, what are you doing with your life if you haven't at least given the original book a try?
But in the meantime, you should be reading the Bible thing. What's it called?
Asimov's Guide to the Bible.
Asimov's Guide to the Bible with us.
2 volumes in one. The Old and New Testaments.
Yeah.
That's the full title.
You guys should join in and do this with us.
Definitely. And I'm going to get to that more in a little bit.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
So in addition to those, he's also best known for his Galactic Empire series and his Robot series.
I've read most of the Robot series, I think.
I have as well, and I've read most of the Empire series.
I don't know that I've read the Empire series yet.
He later wrote some novels that kind of tied them all into the same universe, even though the timelines don't match up.
Sure.
And also he admitted later that some of the science was wrong because he didn't have the information at the time.
Right.
Which he gained later.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I could say so much about this guy that I totally glossed over the fact that a lot of the language that we use in science today, he coined several terms.
Well, there's people that would maybe have never heard of Asimov, but they've heard of the 3 laws of robotics before.
And he's the one that
coined that. Yeah. So, I mean, like...
And the term robotics itself.
Right. Yeah, no, he coined that term as well.
Yep.
So, he's quite a...
he was
influential character.
Way ahead of his time in many ways.
And for the atheist community and humanist community, secular community, he's very huge in that too.
Yep.
So
yep.
I mean, he's had his hand in a lot of pies.
A lot of pies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was president of the American Humanist Society from 1985 until his death in 1992.
That I did know.
And do you know who succeeded him in leadership of that?
Oh, I did at one point.
You're going to kick yourself.
I know I am because I did know.
It's your favorite.
Oh.
It's your favorite.
Okay,
Come on.
Just tell me.
Okay, so his good friend Kurt Vonnegut.
Really?
Yes.
I think I did know that. I think, yeah.
I don't see how you couldn't, and I'm really shocked that you didn't pull that out.
Yeah.
Because Kurt Vonnegut, in case anybody doesn't know, is
also
husband's
need to read him.
Absolute favorite. And you could start with Slaughterhouse-Five if you're looking for more Vonnegut.
Right. Yeah. That's a great place to start. But also, I have to say with him,
he's weird.
Yeah.
He's almost like, it's science fiction, but it's also magical realism.
Right.
And that does not do it justice. It's just weird. Really, really good.
Great shit.
Yeah. Yeah. What was the one that you had me read? It was
I think it was Breakfast. No, Cat's Cradle.
Cat's Cradle.
Cat's Cradle, especially for like religious ideologies and thinking about them in a weird way, like is a perfect book.
It was a really, really great place for me to start with Vonnegut, and you had me read that before we got together even.
Yeah.
And then I was really excited because I was taking college classes at the time, and one of the classes required us to read Slaughterhouse-Five.
Of course.
And I couldn't wait to call you after class and tell you, hey, we have to read your favorite author. And so, then within a year, I'd read 2 books by him, and oh man, I was hooked.
Yep. No, he's a great author.
Yeah, so he was a really great one to follow Asimov in leading the American Humanist Society.
Okay, yeah.
He was also a co-founder and leading member of the Committee for the Skeptical Inquiry.
Okay.
The vice president of Mensa International.
Wow.
And a consultant on many Star Trek projects because he was friends with Gene Roddenberry.
That's so cool.
Right? He was a direct consultant on Star Trek, the motion picture.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, to be in that world where just, Asimov and Gene Roddenberry are running around, and Kurt Vonnegut succeeds you in a fucking, after your death in a humanist society.
They're all just hanging out.
What? Like, this is crazy.
So here's how Asimov and Gene Roddenberry met.
Okay.
Asimov wrote in complaining about the science in one of the episodes, and Gene Roddenberry responded.
Yeah.
And was like, you are absolutely right. However, we are very much constrained by, the time limit that we have,
sure.
and also the audience, and trying to create a drama around it.
Right.
And Asimov was properly chastised and wrote back, but it's still a great fucking show. And so they became great friends after that, and Roddenberry would then consult with him on the science to get it more accurate.
Sure. Well, that's great.
So, yeah, I just thought that was just wicked because we love Star Trek.
Right.
So what's really cool about the fact that he was part of the Mensa community, which is for, geniuses, right? IQ people.
Right.
He wasn't really excited about it. And can you guess why?
No, I can't.
Because the Mensa crowd is so fucking full of themselves, and they were like really, really proud of their brainiacness, and he wasn't for he didn't have time for that.
Sure.
If you are wanting to get an idea of what I'm talking about with regard to Mensa, there's a limited series that you could listen to, and I know I'm not supposed to talk about other podcasts because no other podcast exists but ours, but there's a limited podcast called My Year in Mensa. It's like 6 episodes by Jamie Loftus. Highly recommend it, and that will give you an idea of why Asimov was not necessarily a fan.
I don't think that one really competes with our podcast.
It does not.
I'm not.
It does not.
Not too worried about that one.
It's really good though.
Right. Yeah.
So as you pointed out before, Asimov was an atheist.
Yep.
And a humanist.
Yep.
A rationalist.
Yep.
A skeptic.
Yep.
A Democrat.
Okay.
A liberal.
Awesome.
A feminist.
Great.
And pro-gay rights.
What a guy.
Yes. Having said all of that.
Yeah.
So he was well ahead of his time.
Definitely.
But he doesn't get full credit for all of those because a lot of that was based on his very, very, very worrisome concern over overpopulation. So he was for women's rights because he was concerned with overpopulation. And he was like, yes, please let these people have as many abortions as they want.
Right.
Yes, let gays be gays.
Because they're not having babies.
Yeah, this is excellent.
Right.
So he was pro these things for
the wrong reasons.
I wouldn't say the wrong reason, just not the rightest reasons. He was pragmatic about it.
Sure. Well, and that's, you know what? given the time, at least he had the idea to at all be for these things. So
well, and I have more to add about his idea of feminism. He was for women's rights and women's health care.
Well, when it comes to his writing, he's not very feminist driven.
No, women don't hardly at all appear in his writing, except for there's a really strong character named what's her name, Susan Calvin, I think.
Yeah.
And she's like one of his only strong women characters, and she's fantastic. She shows up in the Robotic series.
Yeah, no, I remember.
But beyond that, even his writing doesn't really reflect women at all, except for that one case.
Right.
He was also kind of grabby and touchy.
Oh, okay.
So he was ahead of his time, but still a product of his time.
Right.
I'm not trying to excuse his behavior.
Yeah.
But he was known to cop a feel and grab titties.
Got it.
And pat some ass.
So not such a great guy there.
Not such a great guy there. I mean, again, a product of his time.
Right.
It makes me wonder how he would be today. Like, would he be an old stodgy man like Bill Maher, denying that times change and stuck in the past? Or would he be part of like the Bernie Sanders, like, I'm old but I still get it,
right?
You know, like, right is right, and we change and we grow and we learn.
There's no way to know.
There's no way to know, but I do think that it is an interesting question when we're talking about him being ahead of his time and still being that way,
right?
You know?
Sure.
So I don't know, I was just like, as I was studying this about him and like trying to reconcile the two different versions of feminism that he had, it just, I don't know, I thought it would be an interesting story. Like, who would he be today?
Right. Yeah, definitely.
When asked in an interview in 1982, so this is, you know,
in our lifetime,
toward the end of his life,
right.
And yes, in our lifetime. I mean, I was 7 years old.
Dating ourselves here.
Yeah. When asked if he was an atheist, he replied, and I'm going to read this quote.
Yeah.
I am an atheist out and out. It took me a long time to say it. I've been an atheist for years and years, but somehow I felt it was intellectually unrespectable to say one was an atheist because it assumed knowledge that one didn't have. Somehow it was better to say one was a humanist or an agnostic.
Right.
I finally decided that I'm a creature of emotion as well as of reason. Emotionally, I'm an atheist. I don't have the evidence to prove that God doesn't exist, but I so strongly suspect he doesn't that I don't want to waste my time.
I've actually used that quote on Twitter before. So.
I fucking love that quote because it's exactly how I feel.
Yeah. No, I mean, it sums it up perfectly. You obviously can't know that there's not a God, sure. Right? So that part of atheism...
that's not a scientifically found...
Right. Scientifically, we cannot prove that there is not a God.
Right.
But it's so obvious that there's not, that it's
right.
Beyond... You have to believe that there's not a God. Like, there's no reason to believe that there is a God.
Yeah, it's unnecessary to even worry about it.
Right.
Because it's very unlikely that there is one, and if there is, well, it's going to take care of itself, isn't it?
Right, yeah. I mean...
Not a lot I can fucking do about
exactly,
it.
Exactly.
And in his last volume of the autobiography, of his own autobiography, he wrote, and I'm going to read this quote.
Okay.
If I were not an atheist, I would believe in a God who would choose to save people on the basis of the totality of their lives and not the pattern of their words.
Yes.
I think he would prefer an honest and righteous atheist to a TV preacher whose every word is God, 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 and whose every deed is foul, foul, foul.
Can't agree more.
Right? Like,
that is
hot damn.
Exactly my when I wasn't sure, when I was younger and, like, you know, fighting with myself over what religion was and stuff like this. I mean, that's the kind of thing that was like, I don't get it. This doesn't make any fucking sense.
Right.
Because there's people that are quote unquote religious who are just fucking horrible.
Horrible people.
And most people that I know that are not religious are actually really great people
who have wonderful morals.
Right.
I mean, to me, it comes to who you would trust your child with.
Right.
You know?
Definitely.
And I would trust my child more often than not, like sight unseen. More often than not, I would choose an atheist over a Christian. And
right.
That makes me sad to say, but it is true.
But their basis of being is not based on the lie.
Right.
And let's just be honest here. No matter how much you believe it, you are basing your belief on a lie.
Right.
And, okay, so you've been brought up with that lie. I get it. And I can excuse it to some level, but some people don't. Some people use it as a tool to be worse than they actually had to be.
Yeah.
And that's the part that I just can't stand.
No. And I would like to add a caveat to what I said. That's not to say that all Christians are bad, nor is it to say that all atheists are good. Because assholes come in all shades and credences.
100%. 100%.
So.
But being religious does not make you a good person. And that's the general consensus of people who are religious, is that you have to be religious to be a good person. And that is simply just not true.
It's demonstrably untrue.
Right.
So that was my little bit about Asimov. And now I'm going to talk more about the book. Okay. So Asimov's Guide to the Bible was originally published in 2 volumes.
Yep.
The first one was the Old Testament, and it was published in 1968. So that's before I was born.
Yep.
And the second one covered the New Testament in 1969.
Okay.
So still before I was born.
Yep.
And then they were later published in 1981, when I was 6, as a single book.
Got it.
And that's what we're working from.
Okay.
So
awesome.
That's the one you guys should pick up.
I was really impressed. I found this as a hard copy online for like $13.
Oh, damn.
I'm like, damn, that's really cool.
Did you get it on Amazon?
No, I got it on on Amazon it was like really expensive, and so it was on eBay too. And I just looked up some other like offhanded booksellers on Google and found one, and I was like, there you go.
I don't know if thrift books would carry this, but they're a really great small, privately owned, not huge box house.
Yeah.
So I recommend them for used in old books.
Yeah.
And you can create like a wish list, and they'll email you if they ever get a copy.
Okay.
So
that's
it's a
awesome.
good place to start if you're looking for something
specific.
Like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
This book is really interesting because not only does it contain the Hebrew Bible that, we're used to reading, like what everybody expects.
You were telling me this the other day. This is really cool.
Yeah. It also contains parts of the Catholic Bible and some other books and parts of books that are found in the Greek and just...
the Orthodox.
Yeah. Eastern Orthodox. I mean, I don't even know all the words, okay?
Sure, yeah.
But... it's like I was looking at the table of contents and I was like, hold up a second.
It's not just the King James Version.
Right,
yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, there are a whole shit ton of things that are in this table of contents that are not in the Bible that we're reading from.
Right.
So this is actually going to be getting us ahead of...
Right, well, it's stuff that we want to... We've said before, we want to cover this other stuff too.
Yeah.
I think we were planning on doing it more towards the end of our podcast, but because we're just kind of reading the Bible right now.
Yeah.
But, there's so much more to the information that's out there for Christianity as a whole that we can't just stop with the end of the Bible that we're reading. Like, there's so much more to go into.
Well, for example, the New Testament, like we know, well, I don't know, you might not know, but most of us would know that it starts with Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. I might be saying those guys out of order, but it's those 4 guys talking about the story of Jesus.
Right.
Apparently the Catholic Bible or whichever Bible he's quoting from, there's like 4 books before that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Maccabees being a couple of them, which I know
I've heard
those
of that
come
before.
from. I knew Maccabees was part of the Catholic Bible, and I thought they were probably the New Testament, but I didn't realize that they were placed before the Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And again, apologies if I'm saying those 4 guys out of order.
Sure.
I'm not at that part of the Bible yet.
Right, and
I don't know those
never
guys.
actually read it before, so, there we go.
I mean, you should just be glad I know them at all. So, now I'm going to read from the Dust Jacket, just to give you guys, like, a nice broad summary of what this book is.
Yeah.
Okay? For most of the last 2,000 years, the Bible has been the most popular history book in Western civilization, and yet its meaning is obscured by an overwhelming number of mysterious passages. Armed with scientific expertise and qualified speculations, Dr. Asimov attempts to illuminate events of the Old and New Testaments by letting us in on the actual historical, geographical, and biological aspects of those first 4,000 years of human civilization. Originally published in 2 volumes, this book brings an important fund of knowledge to any reader of the Bible, yet it also makes absorbing reading for anyone with an interest in history. And because it is completely indexed and cross-referenced, which my God,
oh my God,
it sure is.
There's so many maps and stuff in there. Like, I was blown away. I'm like, this is so cool.
It's amazing. It will prove a valuable encyclopedia of biblical knowledge, which we're counting on.
Yeah.
Asimov's Guide to the Bible shows Dr. Asimov at his professional and informal best. He adheres to no rigid rules and digresses where he feels digression will be useful. This volume is as provocative and entertaining as it is informative and comprises a significant contribution to the studies of the greatest...
Comprises.
What?
You said compromises.
Oh, shit. Sorry. Comprises a significant contribution to the studies of the greatest bestseller of all time, the Bible.
Sorry, I had to correct you on that one because compromise and comprise are
totally different
meanings.
Apologies.
There. So
yeah, I really muffed that. Well, at least you guys know that we're like reading this right live. Yep. So, as of this date, which is this day today,
right?
Asimov's Guide to the Bible has a 4.18 rating in Goodreads.
Wow.
Yeah, which that's out of 5 stars.
Yeah, that's crazy.
4.18.
Yeah. So. Well, I would have guessed. I mean, okay, so this book, right? Mm-hmm. The people that pick it up, it's an intentional read, right? Like it's not something you just like flippantly buy.
Yeah.
That you're intentionally picking up, and especially if you've bought it since Goodreads was a thing.
Yeah.
You definitely intentionally bought that fucking book.
And then took the time to fucking review it on
right.
Goodreads.
And you bought it specifically because you already loved Asimov.
Yeah.
And you're interested in the Bible, and you're probably an atheist or humanist, or at least questioning your religion.
Or at least like super into science.
So I don't know that I give that rating like 100% accuracy, because if it came out as a new book today,
right,
I bet it would be trashed right off the bat, because
by a bunch of right wing.
Right. Yeah. But then it might settle into a better rating. But still, like that's a questionable rating. I'm not saying it's not a great book, but the rating is questionable.
Well, I wasn't expecting you to take that side, but I am very excited about this book.
I am too. I mean, just flipping through it it looks really, really cool.
So I thought we would go ahead and crack it open a little bit.
Okay.
And just talk about the introduction.
Okay. Yeah.
It's only like 4 pages, so if you guys still want to go pick up your copy, I'm not moving ahead of you too far.
Just out of curiosity, are we starting this on this weekend, or are we going to do it the weekend after to give them some time to get the book?
I was thinking about this weekend, but what do you think? Should we wait?
I think we should wait, honestly. Okay. I think we should give them an extra week if they do want to take part and actually follow along.
Okay.
I think maybe not do the next episode this weekend, since we're already kind of midweek here.
Sure.
And let's do it the week after, so that way it gives anybody that's really interested a chance to get the book and get it in for that time frame.
Yeah, that sounds fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, that gives me a chance to read a little bit more ahead, because we all know that I'm like a last-minute cram kind of gal.
Right, yeah.
So, like I said, the introduction is only 4 pages, maybe.
Okay.
And in it, the majority of the first 2.5 pages, Asimov is bemoaning the fact that people know shit from the Bible more often than they know actual history or
I bet.
Geography.
Right.
Yeah. And so he is coming at this from a layperson's understanding of stories that you've probably heard of in the Bible, or areas that you probably have heard of from the Bible,
right?
But not knowing history or geography.
No, that's great.
Which I actually really appreciate, because I don't know a lot of history and geography. Those were... it's interesting because in school, those were my worst subjects, and they were also the subjects I was least interested in.
That was going to be my job if I wasn't doing what I do. I wanted to be a history teacher, and oh my God,
once I hit my late 20s, I started realizing, this stuff is actually important, and shame on all the teachers who didn't make it interesting and explain
it doesn't have
the
to be
importance.
boring. It does not have to be boring. History can be so fun. I mean, just look at the YouTube channel, the Drunk History and shit.
Yeah.
That is so fun. I could watch that all goddamn day.
It's true.
God.
I could too.
I mean, there's so many since the invention of the internet. There's been so many different takes on how to teach and present history that are so much fun, and it's so different from the way that I learned history at the time. Now, I was lucky enough to still be interested in it, and I took it upon myself to learn myself, but most people are not. I mean, I've come to learn very much that most people don't like history. it's boring to them.
I don't think it's their fault. You know?
Right. No, well, like, I mean, your take on the average history teacher is like the boring, history teacher.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
or same as the normal science teacher, or math teacher for that matter.
Well, it's an easy course to just rely on the textbook, right? Like, read this, we're going to take a test. Read this, we're going to take a test.
That's the same with math and science.
Right, right.
If you don't make it interesting, it's not going to be interesting.
Right.
Unless you're the oddball like my husband here who takes it upon himself. But this is how bad I was at history and geography. When I was a kid, we played a lot of board games, and Trivial Pursuit was like one of the games we played most often.
You avoided that one like the plague.
It wasn't just that I avoided it. It was that if I drew a geography or history, the question automatically went to my sister. And, I would get the credit for it. But, there was no question of me answering it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like, my family took it into account that I knew nothing.
Right.
But on the same token, if it was science or, like, literature, her questions all came to me. Yeah. Not because I knew more than she did, per se, but because, like, I was really interested in those topics.
Yeah.
I wanted to know the answers.
Who do our children come to if they have a history question?
You.
Like, without fail.
Right. But if it's English or math, who do they come to?
You.
And then science, we kind of split
English,
the bill.
I'm pretty decent with English, but you're much better. So, like, it's not that they couldn't ask me, just, I bow to your superiority.
I was going to say, like, come on, with commas and apostrophes.
I'm saying, like, math, I suck. But, like, English, I'm all right.
But with commas and apostrophes,
totally.
You have to text me all the time to ask me what apostrophe goes where. No. And I'm always like, it's not a possessive. Why are you putting that there? My God. Okay.
But I'm a good writer.
You are a good writer.
Yeah,
You're a decent writer.
As long as I got a good editor, that's why I married you.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Thanks for that. I thought it was because I was so excited about your favorite hero, Vonnegut.
Oh, yeah.
And you were like, oh, I got to marry this
That's probably
girl.
it too, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so, where was I? He's trying to reach people who don't know a lot about the world.
Right.
Okay?
Yep.
And he sums this up in the third paragraph of the first page of the introduction. And that, I'm going to read what it says.
Okay.
Most people who read the Bible do so in order to get the benefit of its ethical and spiritual teachings, but the Bible has a secular side too. It is a history book covering the first 4,000 years of human civilization.
Yeah, I've heard that mentioned quite a lot since we, there's a lot of people that actually utilize the Bible as a historical reference for things.
Right.
So, like, in some regards, not overall.
Not that it gets everything right, but it does at least give you a sense of what people were thinking at certain times.
Culture. Yeah, for sure.
And then he actually goes further to break down those 4,000 years, and I thought this was interesting. So I'm going to read this little bit too.
Okay.
The period from the beginning of the earliest civilizations, say 4000 BC to 400 AD, can be lumped together as, quote, the biblical period. Of this period, 4000 BC, the period 4000 BC to 400
AD.
BC. We're still in BC.
Okay.
So 4000 to 400 is the Old Testament period.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
And from 400 BC to 4 BC is the intertestamental period. And then the AD section past that is all the New Testament period.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay.
He breaks it down further after that.
Sure.
But I'm not going to get into all that because that's getting like real nitty gritty.
Right. Sure.
But I do think that we will probably start referencing that, not just in this book that we're reading, but probably as we go through the podcast.
Right.
Yeah. Because a lot of it, after a certain point, it tells what people were in charge at the time.
Sure.
And that's just going to help cement the history in my mind better.
Well, it was just recently we had a switch of our minds to find out that we were in the Bronze Age and then we moved into the Iron Age.
Exactly.
Like that was just it was an overriding theme. Like we're in the Iron Age now. Okay.
Yeah, and like I didn't even know anything about the Bronze Age or the Iron Age, like when those were. So I am actually learning history by reading the fucking Bible. Can you even believe that? So that's pretty much it for what I wanted to cover about the book. whenever we do start this, now that you've had the introduction, so get the book, read the introduction.
Right.
And then what I would like to do is read pages 15 to 32.
Okay.
And because it doesn't start on like page 1.
Yeah, I got you.
So read the intro and then read all the way up to page 32. And the topics that'll be covered in there are Genesis, God, the seventh day, the Lord God, man, Eden, the Euphrates River, the serpent, and Eve.
No big deal. Just God, man, and, the whole beginning.
In flipping through, I see that whereas he does go in order through the Bible, he breaks them down by character and place.
Right.
So it's kind of like a kid's Bible version in a way.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I was really excited. So those are the topics that'll be covered. And then I just have one more quote.
So real quick, just to reiterate,
yeah.
pages 15 through 32, if you guys are getting the Bible or the book, those are the ones we're going to be reading for not this coming Sunday, but the Sunday following. So
I would just say up to page 32.
Okay.
It's not even 15 through 32. 15 is where it picks up after the intro.
Right, okay.
So read up through page 32.
Got it.
Okay?
Yep.
And then, like I said, one final quote that I love this. It's so Asimov and it's so us.
Yeah.
I had to include this final quote.
Okay.
Properly read, the Bible is the most potent force for atheism ever created.
Yeah, that one gets tossed around a lot.
I fucking love it. I've never read that quote, but like, how many times have me and you actually said that?
Oh, yeah. No, I mean...
but I didn't know that somebody else had already coined that, like,
well, it's so obvious.
Ago.
Like, you can't... It's just the hypocrisy is right there on the surface. Like, between the parishioners, the people that go to church, and the Bible itself. Even before I started reading it, I knew there was contradictions in it. I knew that there was things that were wrong. I knew that the ideas in there were incorrect and didn't fit with the society that we are in today.
Right.
So, I mean, the idea that those are... that reading the Bible is going to make you an atheist, sure. I mean, I never believed that these people read the Bible. I believe that they read 5 quotes that they can quote anytime they want to make themselves seem like they've read the Bible.
Right.
That's what I think.
Right.
That's what I believe. I believe that they don't actually read the fucking Bible.
They can't possibly.
Right. No, they can't. I mean, since we started reading it, it's made the whole thing like seem that much more dumb than I thought before.
Right.
So I mean,
right.
It's taken my dislike of religion on the onset of this and just multiplied it.
It set fire to it.
Right.
Yeah.
And we can go into my dislike of religion another time, but it's based on what it has caused in society and what it is still causing in society. So.
Yeah.
But. That's for another day.
Yeah.
And for now, just get that book and read up to page 32, or just listen in. Yep. Either way works for us.
I'll give you my 2-cent summary.
Yeah, but the maps in the book are so fucking cool.
Yeah, they really are.
I do highly recommend getting it.
I do as well, just for those alone.
Right. All right. Well, it was great doing the special episode today. Let's get on out of here, and we'll see you guys. Do we know what we're doing tomorrow? Are we doing a Patreon thing, or
I think we are.
We're doing something tomorrow.
We
don't really fucking know yet.
You guys, we're doing something.
Yeah, so we'll see you guys tomorrow probably.
Bye.
And then we're gonna go now. Bye.
Husband.
Wife.
Do you know what we're doing today?
We are discussing Samuel, why there's 2 books of Samuel, I believe.
Very good. Yeah.
I mean, we just talked about it, so it's not like a stellar move on my part to know that, but...
But it was like 10 minutes ago.
It was, so I mean, I guess it is somewhat of a feat.
Yeah, so I thought that we would look into that since we are between the 2 books of Samuel.
Yeah, it's been one of our biggest questions since Samuel died, for sure. We're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
2 books?
That don't make no sense.
No. So that's what we're going over today. But before we get into that, I do have some things I want to go over. Just a quick thing. We have completely revamped our website. Mm-hmm. And I would love for everybody listening to go over and check it out, sacrilegiousdiscourse.com. There is a link there that we could really use your help on, and it says rate us or rate the show or something like that. Anyway, rate something. Yeah. So go there, click on that link, and you can leave a rating on our website. It also has links to rate us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and obviously those help us out tremendously, but any rating we love it. Just hearing some feedback from you guys is amazing, and love to hear from you guys. So if you would hop over there, at least check out the site, see what's up, and then possibly leave us a rating.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Did you want to go over? I think you had something you wanted to go over as well, right?
Yeah, I wanted to just reiterate that our Sacrilegious Book Club is going to be taking place on Sunday, July 3rd, and we'll be covering Asimov's Guide to the Bible. And so if you are doing a read-along, at that point, we will be covering up through page 32.
Yeah, and if for some reason you missed it, I don't know how you would have, but yesterday we actually did the intro to that, so hop on back after you're done with this podcast and listen to that one.
Sure.
All right, that being said, let's go in and find out why there's 2 fucking Samuels.
All right. Hey, so why are there 2 fucking books of Samuel?
Yeah, that's some bullshit. He's dead already.
He's dead. So this may surprise you or may not.
I mean, it's the Bible, so nothing really surprises me anymore, but...
They used to be originally 1 book.
Okay, yeah. I can see that.
And in most Jewish Bibles, they still are.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
But the first Greek translation, which is called the Septuagint, and that's what we read from. It's kind of another word for Old Testament.
Okay.
Not another word for, but
sure.
Interchangeable terms.
Yeah.
Was produced around the 2nd century BC, and they divided it into 2 at that point.
Oh, interesting.
And that from there was adopted by the Latin translations used in the early Christian Church of the West.
Okay.
And were finally introduced into Jewish Bibles around the early 16th century.
So it is in Jewish Bibles, but also the old way too.
Most Jewish Bibles are still reflecting 1 book.
Okay.
But there are some that show Samuel's as 2 books.
Got it. Okay.
And that will, I'll get into this in a minute, but depending on whether it's 1 book or 2, also changes what it is titled, what it's called.
Okay. Interesting.
So, in Bibles dating from before 1516, the books of Samuel would be known as Kings and 2nd Kings, respectively.
Don't those still exist?
Don't those exist, right? That's like what comes after Samuel.
Yeah.
Those, what are now known as 1st Kings and 2nd Kings, would be 3rd Kings and 4th Kings.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Right?
Okay.
And that makes sense.
And that does make sense, yeah, because this feels like the beginning of...
It doesn't just feel like it.
It is.
It is
right.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
Like that's the whole point, is that this is the beginning of Kings.
Sure. So why are we glorifying Samuel then?
Right. Well, there's an easy answer and then there's a longer answer.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the easy answer is that Samuel was instrumental in the selection of the first 2 kings.
Okay.
And he was the very last of the leader, the religious leader, the theocratic leader of the tribes of Israel.
Changing of the guard, so to speak.
Not just the changing of the guard, yes, but also the changing of the way. Like, the 12 tribes were in great disarray.
Right.
By the time this change happened.
Sure.
And they used to come together in various celebrations and reiterate all their rules, but by the time Samuel came around, they weren't really doing that so much anymore.
Got it.
And so not only were they struggling from within with each other, they were also being badly beaten by all of the Canaanites and Philistines, all the different groups of people whose land they had
I mean,
taken.
Partly it's their own damn fault.
Sure,
they fucking took over this land, but
and never did take it over correctly.
Right, yeah.
So, they brought it on themselves. But Samuel was the last of that lifestyle. That it was the end, not just the changing of the guard. It was the end of a very, very monumental way that they were living.
Got it.
And hereafter, they were no longer tribes of Israel so much. You know? They were now led by a king, and
so it's Israel after this, basically.
They're still the tribes, but their whole leadership changes and their practices change. the title reflects more how they are living. So they'd already been living this way for a long time.
Right.
And so the title was just like the final nail in the coffin.
Okay.
To go to the kingship.
Got it.
So that's the easy answer. The short answer is that because Samuel represented the end of the 12 tribes of Israel as we knew them.
Sure.
Okay. Here's the longer answer. Okay.
Okay.
So according to Jewish tradition, blah, 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 tradition. The book was written by Samuel. So, I mean...
Oh, wow, that didn't really come up.
Yeah.
At least not what I was able to discern. So.
Right. Now, that's according to tradition. That is, what they say. It was written, which would make you say, oh, okay, that makes sense that the books of Samuel, he wrote them. So, of course, he would...
Except that he died.
Right.
So, that leaves a gaping hole in the he wrote it thing.
Right. Now, we will get into the names Gad and Nathan. They are prophets who come in later books that we'll be reading.
Okay.
I believe the books of Kings, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe Chronicles. I could be wrong.
Okay.
But those are the next two sets of books that we'll be reading. Kings and Chronicles, two of each. These prophets are believed to have come in and with Samuel, those three are the actual authors of...
Oh, okay.
Traditionally speaking.
Sure, yeah.
Okay?
This is,
Those three prophets, it says right here in my notes, they were in First Chronicles.
Okay.
So, good for me, I'm guessing right. Yay. During the account of David's reign.
Okay.
So, which Second Samuel's is going to cover David's reign. Okay?
I kind of figured that because we're kind of leading into that. I mean, like,
but for what we know, he could die on page 1, right?
Yeah,
like, we don't really know anything about it.
It's true.
So.
I mean, there's been characters that I consider bigger characters that I thought were big characters in the Bible that died within a book.
They just fucking keeled over.
Oh, shit. That
fell off their stool. Had a stroke.
Well, no, I mean, it's like big names. Like, I'm just like, oh, that's it? That's all that person gets?
Yeah, whatever happened to so-and-so?
Right,
Who fucking knows? So, those prophets are all believed traditionally to have, helped each other in composing this.
Okay.
In First Samuel, Samuel himself is treated as a prophet. He's also referred to as a seer and a judge, and he was Israel's principal figure immediately before the monarchy. Even after Saul is made the king, he's still there.
Very prominent, yeah.
Yeah. And then in 2 Samuel, David is presented as the king. That's why these two books go hand in hand and were originally one story and are still, even though they're split into two books, you could still say it's one book.
Well, in one of the stories, Samuel actually anointed David. So, like, the other one was kind of iffy about that.
Yeah.
But, how they had two different versions of it, right?
Yeah.
Like, the one, he definitely anointed him as the new king.
Yeah.
But...
And then in the other, it was by God.
Right.
So, and we're going to get into a little bit of that in a second, too.
Yeah.
So, some scholars assume that the books of Samuel were composed from 2 or 3 continuous sources. So, different stories that they collected that were, like, continuing stories.
Okay.
But more often now, it's believed that they are a compilation of independent narratives of varying length.
That feels more true.
Yeah.
That feels much more true.
Much more true. And that's the leaning theory at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's just too broken. I mean, like, there's too many broken things in there that don't make sense next to each other that I'm like, this just doesn't work. It doesn't even fucking work.
It doesn't even try to work.
Right.
The Deuteronomistic editors or writers, however you want to refer to them.
Sure.
And don't forget, we are still in that grouping of books.
Okay.
Like Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, not Ruth, and then Samuel, Kings, and Chronicles are not Chronicles, just Kings. Up through Kings is still part of that Deuteronomistic history.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
So these are all now believed to have been put together by the same hand or group of hands.
Or edited by the same hand, anyway.
Yes.
Not necessarily written by them, but...
No, that's why I said put together.
Right.
Whatever writing they may have done, redactions, additions.
Because I got news for you. You couldn't be the same writer couldn't have written Samuel.
No.
There's no fucking way.
No, not at all.
Because it's two different fucking stories at least.
Well, and there's a theory as to why they were kept in, because both of them painted David in a great light.
Right.
Which later on, in future books that we'll be reading,
right,
they will look back and talk about David as his, what did they call it? Dynastic history. Like, he's the beginning of the quote-unquote Jesus story, which I know that we're not supposed to be talking about Jesus because right. he's like not even a blink of an eye in these people, you
right.
know, like, yeah. But future books chronicle or look back on this, and David is the beginning. Like, God blessed him and
sure.
and all of his progeny forward on.
Right.
And David is believed to be an ancestor.
Well,
of
even if we're just sticking
Christ.
in the Old Testament, the way you're describing it says that they want to make him look good, and why leave out anything that makes him look good?
Exactly.
And they can reference back to those things that make him look good. That's
why all the stories were included. It's believed that's why all the stories were included, even if they were clearly at odds with each other.
Right.
But
somebody back then might have even been like, well, look, we have two stories. I'm not sure which one's exactly correct, but they're both accounts of him being a good person.
And Saul being a nutbag.
Right. So either way, whichever one you take, one of those is correct. But everybody had the same idea.
Yeah, exactly. Moreover, though, the battles that were involved, the destruction of the Canaanites, those were not supported by the archaeological record, which further goes to show that a lot of this was story and fable and legend and not direct history.
Was it Canaanites or Philistines?
Canaanites.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a lot of the battles described in the books of Samuel couldn't have taken place.
Okay.
Moreover, a lot of the words that are used, the phrases, like one of them was "to this day" and "forever after,"
right,
apparently are anachronistic. They did not speak that way. Oh. They didn't use terms like that. So it's clear, not in the time that Samuel was covering or that the editors would have.
Right.
So it's clear that these
it's been reworked.
Yeah. That these were not written as early as.
Got it.
They want it to be.
Sure.
So, it's now widely believed that the Israelites themselves originated as a subgroup of Canaanites. Which,
I mean, we thought that way back when they were, in Exodus.
Exactly.
So we talked about that ourselves as like, some of the stuff that we come across is like, things that they've studied and decided upon as scholars. I'm like, well, it seemed pretty fucking obvious, didn't it?
Yeah. It's kind of funny, like, we came to that, and we're just dum-dums.
Right?
And we came to that conclusion on our own, and we're like, that tracks.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're just reading along, and like, that sounds like what that probably is, so.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, whatever.
Okay, so, and I already talked about the anachronisms and the phrases. Those could not have been compiled in the 11th century BCE.
Right, just because of the way they talked and the way they said things.
It wouldn't have happened.
Sure.
This is, to me, wrapping up to an end here.
Okay.
The most interesting point of all of this. 4 of the Dead Sea Scrolls feature parts of the books of Samuel.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I cannot fucking wait to get into the Dead Sea Scrolls eventually. Huh. Yeah.
That's really interesting. Okay.
And I don't know a lot about the Dead Sea Scrolls. Like, we'll get into that, but apparently there's like different caves, at least 4 different caves that they were all found in.
Yeah.
And whatever quadrant in the caves they were found in is how they're identified. And I'm gonna have to this is so off topic, but when we get to the Dead Sea Scrolls, I'm going to have to look up how the references are pronounced out loud.
Right.
Not because they're difficult to pronounce, but it's a matter of, like, if you see 1 Samuel, you don't know to pronounce it 1 Samuel unless somebody has said it that way to you already, which is why Trump said 1 Samuel. Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's numbers and letters is how the Dead Sea Scrolls are identified.
Okay.
Not in some kind of Hebrew or Aramaic or something like that. It's just code names, like stars are given these, weird letters and numbers and you don't know how to identify it, like how you're supposed to say it.
Right.
So I'm going to have to get into that, but I'm so excited about that.
Yeah.
Collectively, these books that were found in the caves, the Dead Sea Scrolls, they are collectively known as the Samuel Scroll, and they date from the 2nd and 1st centuries BCE.
Interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
So we know from that that dates these, kind of.
Right.
That gives us some kind of reference.
Well, but that also puts those scrolls around the same time that they were trying to redo, based on what you were saying, same time they were trying to redo what was in Samuel, too. So it sounds like there was something going on with that whole portion of the Bible, Old Testament, at that point, where they were trying to rework it, and so there must have been a lot of people reworking. I don't know, but that's interesting, though.
Yeah. So, it shows at the very least that there was a lot of writing happening. What happened later that, chose this book and tossed that one.
Right.
That came later.
I thought that some of the Dead Sea Scrolls had to do with the New Testament, too. Am I wrong about that, or?
I think so, but I don't know that for certain.
Okay. All right.
That's beyond my scope of knowledge at this time.
That's fine. I wasn't sure, and I just thought I'd ask the question. And
I know.
I'm sure somebody will probably reach out to us and tell us. But
every time the Dead Sea Scrolls come up, I'm just champing at the bit, I think is the term. Chomping at the bit. I cannot wait till we get to those, because it's so exciting.
Right, just because of what they were when we were growing up.
Because they represent.
I mean, I swear to God, I thought Indiana Jones was the one that discovered them when I was growing up.
I'm serious. It's true. And
just because of the cool factor,
I remember thinking how cool it was, and I remember how people around me were not anywhere near as wowed as I was.
Right. Well, there's two camps in that probably, and one is that, yeah, that's neat, stuff in the desert, okay, if you're not really religious.
History, cool, whatever.
If you're religious, you might be like, oh shit, what's going to happen?
Blasphemy, that's not true.
Am I going to find out my religion's wrong? Or,
I don't think that's what religious people think.
No?
I think they automatically assume it's the devil's work, and it's either a fraud or it's something that was planted, and it's the devil, and we. Well, and I guess that's why it's in
my mind that there was some stuff from the New Testament in there, because I thought I recalled there being a whole section on Jesus that didn't paint him in exactly the same light that the Bible does. So
I don't know if that's the Dead Sea Scrolls. I really don't. I do know that there are other books that do talk about Jesus, that were discovered later. That do paint him as like he had siblings, he was married and had children of his own.
Yeah.
And that he had his wife or other women among his prophets.
Sure. Or
disciples or whatever. And I'll be quite honest, I could be confusing a lot of this with fucking Dan Brown's book. Because he talked about that a lot. But I want to say that Dan Brown wrote his book around all of this stuff that had come out because it was so exciting.
Loosely.
Oh, very loosely. Yeah. So I'm just trying to be honest. Like, I don't know any of this shit. And what little I do have, I learned so young. And at a time when I wasn't really aware of a lot of history.
Or religion.
Yeah, or religion. And that book was quite the phenomenon. So, just as much as Indiana Jones.
Yep, for sure.
So, just wanted to put that out there. Yep. Cover my ass.
So that seems like that might be about it for what we've got today.
That is it for what we've got today.
I don't know what we're doing tomorrow yet.
I don't either.
We're kind of playing this week like fly by the seat of our pants. So let's just leave it as a roll the dice, and you guys can have a nice surprise tomorrow. There's definitely, probably, most likely going to be something tomorrow.
Definitely, probably, maybe.
Yeah.
Because we want to wait until Monday to start the new book. That's what this is about.
Yeah.
It just makes the numbering easier, you guys. Sure. So, hang with us.
All right, let's get out of here.
All right.
We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Bye. Husband.
Wife.
Let's do something different.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's do a you can't possibly be right and anything you say is wrong episode.
Wait, but I'm always right.
But no, because I'm going to ask you some questions, and whatever you answer, you're wrong.
That sounds dumb.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Inconsistencies in the Bible.
Oh, well, I like that better.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So let's. We're just doing 1 Samuel inconsistencies, or
yes and no. I'm only including examples from everything through 1 Samuel.
Okay.
With an emphasis on 1 Samuel.
Got it.
So I basically looked up inconsistencies that include 1 Samuel with the argument for or against whatever is said there being only in books that we have already read.
Got it. Okay. That sounds fun.
Okay.
All right. Let's go find out what's wrong about the Bible.
Everything.
Okay.
Okay, so first I should caveat this with we are purely getting all of these answers and questions and facts and whatevers from a King James Bible version.
Okay, all right.
So there's going to be lots of fucking these and thous. And I'm going to be laughing because what the fuck?
Right.
It was hard enough without that nonsense.
Yeah.
So I want to put that right out there that that's the source I'm using.
Okay. All right. Sure.
So, okay, let's start. Ready?
I'm ready.
You're wrong.
I'm wrong about what?
Who hardened the Pharaoh's heart?
God had hardened the Pharaoh's heart, didn't he?
You would think that because it specifically said so in Exodus chapter 7, verse 13.
Yeah.
And he hardened Pharaoh's heart that he hearkened not unto them, as the Lord had said.
Right.
Right? But you're also wrong.
Okay, I'm wrong.
Because Pharaoh hardened his own fucking heart.
What?
According to 1 Samuel chapter 6, verse 8.
Well, fuck that, 1 Samuel. Lord God, the fake guy, did that shit.
Wherefore then do ye harden your hearts as the Egyptians and Pharaoh hardened their hearts?
Oh.
Like they admitted that it was their own fault for being assholes.
I see.
Yeah.
Oopsie. And
Oopsie.
that God didn't do it, huh?
Yeah. Oopsie.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. See how you're wrong?
I see how I'm wrong.
Yeah.
What else am I
you
wrong?
Guessed, you were going to be wrong.
Okay. I see how this is going to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't win. This is the best game I've ever played against you. Because you always win all the games.
Yeah.
Okay. Does God ever repent?
I would say no.
You're wrong. Okay, so I'll let you have the first one. God does not repent, as you said, right? You said no, he never repents, right?
Sure, yeah.
So like, for example, in Numbers chapter 23, verse 19, God is not a man that he should lie, neither the son of a man that he should repent.
Okay.
So there's one. And in 1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 29, the strength of Israel will not lie nor repent, for he is not a man that he should repent.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
So
he don't repent.
You would think that is correct, but like I said,
I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
Okay.
God repents. Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
In Genesis chapter 6, verse 6.
Yeah.
6. And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart.
Oh, man.
And then again in Exodus.
Yeah?
Chapter 32. I kind of cut some of these short, so I don't know if it's verse 11, 12, 13, 14, somewhere around there.
Okay.
And the Lord repented of the evil which he thought to do unto his people.
Oh, man.
Because, he was like, it was when he was like arguing with Moses, like, I'm going to kill these motherfuckers. And Moses was like, no.
Right.
And so the Lord repented.
Interesting how God's not always correct in the Bible.
And then in 1 Samuel.
Yeah.
I know. 1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 11, and then again 35. And the Lord repented of the evil which he thought to do unto his people. Oh, wait, no, that's Exodus 32. I just reread the same thing.
Oh, okay.
I'm so sorry. I have a headache.
I have a tired, so.
I know, you do have a tired. Whoa, Google was trying to talk at us.
That's dumb.
Fuck you, Google. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. 1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 11, and then again 35. And the Lord repented that he had made Saul king over Israel.
Oh, man. Yeah. I mean, I see why, but...
Yeah.
Wow.
So you're wrong.
Right. I'm wrong.
Okay. Is God merciful?
I mean, honestly, based on what I've seen, fuck no.
Right.
But I think we're supposed to think fuck yes.
But you're wrong.
Which one?
Both.
Oh, shit.
You're wrong.
Okay, I'm wrong.
So which one do you want to go with?
I'm going to go with he's not merciful.
He's not merciful, but he also is. Okay, but God is a cruel, unmerciful, and evil being. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
So I've got 3 examples.
Okay.
From Numbers, Deuteronomy, and 1 Samuel.
Okay.
I'm not giving verses anymore because I keep fucking that up. So
sure, yeah.
If you really need to know, you guys, I have it printed out. So just hit me up and I'll
send us an email or something.
I'll let you know
Tweet
what verse it was. But I keep saying it wrong. So
yeah.
So fuck it.
Right.
Okay? So from Numbers chapter 25. And the Lord said to Moses, take all the heads of the people and hang them up before the Lord against the sun, that the fierce anger of the Lord may be turned away from Israel.
Damn.
You got to kill some motherfuckers and hang them.
Yeah, that is not merciful.
For me to stop being mad at you.
That is not merciful.
Okay, so from Deuteronomy chapter 7, and thou shalt consume all the people which the Lord thy God shall deliver thee. Thine eyes shall have no pity upon them.
That is not merciful either.
That is not merciful.
Right.
Okay, and then from 1 Samuel chapter 15.
Yeah.
Now go and smite Amalek and utterly destroy all that they have and spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant and suckling.
What a dick.
Yeah, that is not merciful.
Yeah, not merciful.
But you know what?
What?
You're wrong.
Fuck.
Because guess what?
He's merciful too.
God is kind, merciful, and good.
It sounds like there's an excuse. Like sounds like he can be whatever the fuck you want him to be because he's all the things.
It sounds like cherry picking was made so fucking easy because you can find anything to go your way.
I'm just saying.
And okay, please understand that there were so many more examples.
Yeah.
First, I culled them down to only examples from the books that we have read.
Right.
Okay? Further from there, I cut out any examples that were either stupid or repetitive or that I didn't quite agree that was a good example.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But there are many, many more. Okay? So, we are going with God is kind, merciful, and good now. Okay? An example from Exodus chapter 34.
Uh-huh.
The Lord God, merciful and gracious, long-suffering and abundant in goodness and truth.
But I don't believe him based on the other things now.
And then in Deuteronomy chapter 4, for the Lord thy God is a merciful God. The
bullshit.
end, right?
Just because they say he is does not make his actions show otherwise.
It's kind of like when somebody walks up to you and they say, as they're stabbing you, I'm being totally fair.
Right.
Like, you're not the judge of if you're being fair or not.
Right.
The person that's receiving the action gets to judge the action.
Yeah.
And, that kind of goes along with racism. You don't just get to say, I'm not racist. If somebody is telling you that you are, you have to stop and examine it.
Right.
So, shut up, God.
Yeah.
So, you're wrong. Okay?
I'm wrong. Okay.
How many gods are there?
Wow. 4,000.
You're wrong.
or none. That's
okay.
a better answer.
Well, I mean, okay, you're right.
I'm having fun
You're
with
not
this
wrong with
right?
that one.
Yeah, right.
So here's your choices, though, and it's multiple choice. You have to pick one.
Okay, I'm gonna pick one.
One god or several gods.
I'm gonna go with several gods.
Okay, but you're wrong. But we'll go with your answer first.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm ready.
There are several gods, and I've got several examples here.
Yeah.
Okay. From Exodus chapter 12, and against all the gods of Egypt I will execute judgment.
All the gods. Yeah.
Okay, from Exodus chapter 18, now I know that the Lord is greater than all gods.
All gods.
All gods.
Yeah, not
he
just...
beats them all.
Yeah.
Okay, from Numbers chapter 33.
Yeah.
Upon their gods also the Lord executed judgments.
So, yeah.
So he
gods,
even got mad at the other gods.
Right, yeah.
And judged them.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay, from Deuteronomy chapter 5.
It's a lot of gods.
I know. Thou shalt have no other gods before me.
Because there's other gods.
There are other gods.
Yeah, right.
We don't deny it in the early parts of the Bible.
I got it.
Okay.
There's a lot of evidence for the gods.
Yeah.
Just saying.
In Joshua chapter 24.
Yeah.
Your fathers dwelt on the other side of the flood in old time, even Terah, the father of Abraham and the father of Nachor, and they served other gods. They did. They did
do that.
They did do that.
Those things happened.
Okay, and here's 2 examples from 1 Samuel.
Okay.
Chapter 6.
Yeah.
Ye shall give glory unto the God of Israel. Peradventure he will lighten his hand from off of you and from off your gods. All of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The multiple.
Yeah. And from chapter 28, And the king said unto her, Be not afraid, for what sawest thou? And the woman said unto Saul, this is the witch of Endor.
Yeah.
I saw gods ascending out of the earth. Boom.
Wow.
Yeah. Remember that?
Yeah.
We just read that.
Right.
So, okay. So there are several gods, right?
It sounds that way.
You're wrong.
Shit.
Okay? There's only one God.
Okay.
Okay, this is like repeated multiple times in various places, so I only picked one because I'm an asshole like that.
Okay.
And this is my game, and I'm winning.
Yeah.
Okay? Deuteronomy chapter 4. The Lord, He is God in heaven above and upon the earth beneath. There is none else.
I see.
But you know what? All the examples that I saw don't really specifically say there's only one God, there's none others.
Right.
It says there are other gods, but this is the one you need to pick.
Got it.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Even later on when it's like the Lord is great.
Yeah.
And the Lord is greater than all other gods, and you know what I mean?
There's still other gods implied.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Like there is no one specific place, not with minimal research, okay?
Sure.
Let me put that out there.
Right.
But it's not hard, or it's not easy to find anything that says, period, the end, there's only one God.
It's not called Sacrilegious Discourse Harvard for a reason. I mean, shit.
True. Okay, so I'm still winning, though.
Okay, you're still winning.
Are we punished for the sins of others?
Yes.
Okay. That's a good argument.
I mean, lots of people fucking died for sins of others.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see what we have to do here. Okay?
I think I'm gonna have to call bullshit if you tell me I'm wrong here, because flood.
I'm not
and
there
other
yet.
various
I'm not
things
there yet.
that happened.
I'm giving you your case first.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
God does punish things according to the Bible. He's so proud of it. He repeated it 4 times just in the earliest chapters.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in Exodus chapter 20 and Deuteronomy chapter 5, both of those read the same. I am the Lord thy God. I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the 3rd and 4th generation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, sounds like you're right so far.
Yep.
Okay. In Exodus chapter 34, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children and upon... Oh, see, it repeats it again.
Yeah, it's like the same fucking thing.
And then in Numbers chapter 14, it says it again.
Okay.
And then in 1 Samuel chapter 3, it does say something a little different.
Okay. Yeah.
I will perform against Eli all things which I have spoken concerning his house. I will judge his house forever, because his sons made themselves vile, and he restrained them not.
So
all generations following.
Okay.
All these
because it says
people,
his house, so like
yeah, that's what they mean.
Right.
Except that he killed them all. So
right.
You know.
So that it ends that line right there. Yeah.
But still.
Yeah.
Okay. So it sounds to me like you're right, but you know what?
I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
Shit.
Okay? Because no, God doesn't punish people for the actions of others.
Okay.
In Deuteronomy chapter 24, it says, The father shall not be put to death for the children, neither shall the children be put to death for the fathers. Every man shall be put to death for his own sin.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you're wrong.
I was wrong.
You're wrong.
Interesting.
See how this game works?
I'm always wrong.
Yeah. I love this game.
Or otherwise, we could call it I'm always right.
Absolutely not.
I'm just saying, if we wanted to go the other way with it, we could.
No, that doesn't let me win, and I'm the one making the rules. This is my game.
What if I want to win, though?
You don't get to in this one.
What if I just say I win?
It doesn't matter what you say. I'm the one that's leading
But the Bible
game.
gets to say it just wins.
Oh, we're using the Bible as a legitimate source of rules now?
I didn't say it was legitimate.
And if it's not legitimate, then you don't get to say that the Bible says.
Oh, okay. All right.
So, therefore, I'm the one running the game. I get to choose.
Okay, fine.
Okay? You're always wrong.
I'm always wrong.
Okay?
Yep.
Last question. Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Did Saul and Samuel kill all the Amalekites?
No.
Right. No. Right? You would think that that's the answer.
Right.
Like, But I'm going to go through this. I have to do this one in order. I can't take your case first because it's kind of funny the way it's put together.
Okay.
Okay?
Sure.
So first of all, totally. He totally killed them already.
Mm-hmm.
In 1 Samuel chapter 15, and Saul smote the Amalekites from Havilah until thou comest to Shur, that is over against Europe. And he took Agag, the king of the Amalekites, alive, and utterly destroyed all the people with the edge of the sword, ... etc., etc.
So they all died.
They all died.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
So yes.
Okay.
But no, because then David killed them all a few years later. Okay? 1 Samuel chapter 27. So these are all from 1 Samuel, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay? In this particular question...
So it's contradicting itself in the same book.
The same book of the Bible.
Nice.
Yes.
That's a feat.
That's the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, 1 Samuel chapter 27, and David and his men went up and invaded the Geshurites and the Gezrites and the Amalekites.
Oh.
For those nations were of old the inhabitants of the land, as thou goest to Shur, even unto the land of Egypt. And David smote the land, and left neither man nor woman alive, and took away the sheep and the oxen and the asses and the camels and the apparel, and returned, and came to Achish.
So the Amalekites were already dead,
Kish.
but then he killed them again, all dead.
He killed them dead,
And
then guess what?
And then
Then David killed them all again. Some more.
Yeah, some more.
Some more. Ready?
Okay, yeah.
In 1 Samuel chapter 30.
Oh.
And it came to pass, when David and his men were coming to Ziklag on the third day, that the Amalekites had invaded the south.
Oh my God.
And Ziklag, and smitten Ziklag, and burned it with fire. And David smote them from the twilight even unto the evening of the next day. And there escaped not a man of them, save 400 young men who rode away upon camels.
Those Amalekites, they came back pretty well for being smote two times already.
Well, I mean, did you hear in this last final one where he killed them, where they were all killed a third time?
Yeah.
400 of them escaped on camels.
Yeah, right.
So
after they've all been killed twice completely.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's amazing.
Those Amalekites are really resourceful.
I mean, I want to be an Amalekite.
Maybe they should be celebrated for coming back from the dead.
They should.
You know? Like, maybe we should worship the Amalekites.
One of the questions that I really, really wanted to get to was Jesus the first guy to be resurrected in the Bible? I really wanted to do that one, but I couldn't because a lot of the sources to the answers were from books we haven't read yet.
Got it.
But
the Amalekites were resurrected twice.
Okay, that's not a resurrection. That's just a misrecording and a miswording.
Okay.
But the Witch of Endor is listed as one of the first to resurrect somebody because of Samuel. Yep.
Interesting.
So Jesus wasn't first.
Interesting.
Yep.
Well, they didn't. It's the Old Testament. They didn't give a shit about Jesus because Jesus didn't exist yet.
Right.
So they weren't, writing this based on Jesus.
No, I know.
So
I know that. It's just that then Jesus came around and they're like, "This is the first guy ever," and it's like, but actually,
and the Witch of Endor was like, "Hold my beer, bitch."
Indeed.
Yeah.
So that were the questions I was able to come up with, and I think we should do this at the end of every book.
Oh, I agree.
And
this is fun. I enjoy losing.
Yeah. Do you? Do you enjoy being always wrong?
In this case, yes.
I mean, I feel like we should come up with a theme song. You're wrong.
What's your thing with theme songs here lately?
I don't know. Like, we're making
Do I need
bits.
to get you like a little Casio piano?
Fuck yeah, you do.
Okay.
I mean, is that even a question? Hello? That has nothing to do with this podcast.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean, if somebody asks you if you need a Casio, you say yes.
All right. Well, was that all the wrongness that I had to endure today?
For tonight.
All right. Well, I think tomorrow is going to be our Patreon episode.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's going to be an episode where you should, go and listen to it and then be so distraught that you need to go and subscribe to our Patreon page.
Yeah.
So that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Don't. Never mind. I'm tired.
What?
I need to get out of here. So.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah,
shut
Patreon
up.
tomorrow. Yeah, I'm gonna shut up now.
Stop talking.
All right.
My God.
We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Husband.
Wife.
Let's talk about SCOTUS.
Oh, fuck SCOTUS.
Fuck SCOTUS all the way to Mars and back. Seriously.
Yeah, they're fucking assholes.
Supreme Court of the U.S. is a bunch of dipshit motherfuckers.
Yeah, I completely concur. and have said as much multiple times on our Twitter account in the last day.
I love all the hashtags you've come up with.
Oh my God, I'm so fucking pissed at everything right now. It's just ridiculous.
On fire.
Yeah. No.
The world, not us.
Well, the downside, not the downside, the shitty part of this is that, when you think about it, and the young people that they put into SCOTUS, younger than normal, we're set to die before this changes.
Yeah.
This is the rest of our fucking lives if we don't do something.
Yep.
It's fucking crazy.
So let's talk about it.
All right, just for the rest of you out here, this is a Patreon-only episode, so we're going to be signing off unless you want to head over and subscribe at our Patreon site, which is patreon.com/Sacrilegious Discourse, and you can subscribe for as little as $2 a month, which is less than 7 cents a day.
Well, I think you should do it, man.
I do too. Yeah. So go do that, and we're going to go read the rest of this shit right now.
Okay, bye.
All right.
Oh no, what happened?
Well, this is a special Patreon episode, actually. Which means that they need to go to Patreon and subscribe as a patron in order to listen to it.
Okay, well, I guess that we are going to go do that now.
Yeah, just head over to patreon.com/Sacrilegious Discourse, become a member for as low as $2 a month, and you'll have access to all these special things and goodies too. So, go do that.
So this was just a teaser.
Yeah, teaser.
Okay, just
Bye.
checking.
Okay,
Bye.
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 Hey, wife, I guess that's the end?
But husband, that's just sad.
It doesn't have to be. We are on lots of social media platforms like Twitter. Our handle there is sacrilegious_D.
For D's nuts.
Oh my God. Stop doing that. Anyway, we're also on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. There's a link to all of our social media sites at our website.
Ooh, we have a website?
Yeah, it's sacrilegiousdiscourse.com, where you can also find a link to our merch shop.
We have a merch shop?
Yep, we have podcast-themed clothing, mugs, notebooks, and more, as well as an atheist and science-themed products.
Wow, our fans should really go check that out right now.
Definitely. They can get in touch with us by sending an email to sacrilegiousdiscourse@gmail.com. But before they do that, we could really use some help.
Oh yeah? With what?
Well, it's not free running the podcast, and we need some financial support in order to get better equipment, which will free up time so we can concentrate on our podcast and our fans.
Okay, so what should they do?
Head over to patreon.com/Sacrilegious Discourse and sign up as a contributor on our podcast. Supporters there receive additional bi-weekly episodes that we record just for our Patreon members for as little as $2 a month.
Also, we'd really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe on whatever platform you're using.
And Apple Podcast reviews help us out tremendously.
Like and subscribe. Leave an Apple review. Join us on Twitter. Support us on Patreon. That's a lot of instructions. Don't forget to say thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.